Yeah, there we go. All right, finally back. The car talk has been elusive. It's been like 5 days because there was it three? Yeah, 3 workouts in New York. A little bit of like kind of a walk on the sidewalk talk, but it was so freaking cold. There was only like 2 minutes worth of kind of random banter, but no, that was fun. That was shit. The change of pace is like insane, just to see everybody kind of walking around like that. I didn't get a full like look around everywhere, but the last time I'd been in New York was for an orchestra trip. So back when I was in high school, I played the violin. I wasn't very good. I could play it. There's like 3 tiers of orchestra. Concert orchestra, where like as long as you can, anybody could be in there, kind of. That's like the bar, as long as you could kind of play, and like you were trying at least a little. And then there was symphony, which is right in the middle, and then there was like the players, which is like the more kind of high level, just skilled kind of group. And I was in that lower level. That was cool with me. All my buddies were in there. But every 4 years, they schedule a week, or if not a week, at least like 5-day New York trip where everybody gets on a bus and we all kind of head over there. We like do a concert somewhere. But yeah, so I didn't go back to Times Square or anything, or like the Diamond District. But I do see all those videos of everybody. They're just running around like, it's tracks. It's like, sir, how much does this gold bar weigh? I'll give you 1 ounce of silver if you can guess right. Like that kind of stuff. Didn't run into anything like, social media funny like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see the appeal, for me at least. It's usually, I think at least it's a relatively well-known pattern, that whatever your childhood and your upbringing is like, you typically want to do the complete polar opposite. Like it's always the like city characters who, they finish going to school and they're like, oh man, I gotta get out of the city. Oof. Or guys who are like raised in the country and like they think there's this prestige and there's just like this like hustle and like the city, it has an allure. Like it's not the sidewalks full of trash and like a million Amazon delivery drivers because there's like 100,000 people per square mile. They're only thinking like New York City, the Big Apple. But I fall for it too. Everybody's in this back and forth. Every time I'm dieting, I'm thinking, shit, man, I can't wait to get bulked up. And every time I'm bulking, at least for long enough, you're like, man, I want to get cut up. That'll be freaking sweet. So it's always just a back and forth, And I'd say this is at least close to one of the probably primary points of like human psychology. Not to get too specific, but it's just so classic. Like there's a million stories. It's just we want what we don't have. I think at the end of the day, it's hard to unwire your brain to that, because once you have something, well, now you don't at least maybe value it as much as you should, because, well, shit, man, maybe you used to want it like crazy, and then now you got it. I want something else. So I think the best, if that's the case, then with the gym or with anything that you want to get good at, I think it's good to change your goal setting from I want to win this thing, I want to reach this bench, I want to be this size, I want to be this weight. Like instead of having a goal that is very pinpointed and specific, which I know, right? Isn't that, I'm like saying the opposite of what people would normally say. Rather, kind of try to develop a goal of like becoming, like a goal of transformation. So instead of like, okay, this next year, by the end of the year, I want to be at this point. Well, what are you going to do when you get there, man? You're going to reset your goal. You're going to have to kind of reevaluate your values, and then you're going to have to make another one, and then you'll hit it, and then you'll want something more, or you won't hit it, and then in a way, like to take it to an extreme, you might just feel like shit that you didn't achieve whatever that goal was. you know. So I guess at least how I think about it a lot is it's not reaching a specific point, but it's more so just making sure I've got a certain trajectory, making sure that I'm moving, making sure I'm getting a little bit ahead every day. And there is no end to that goal, right? It's kind of like the Sisyphus boulder up the hill, and instead of like basically hedging your bets that you think one moment will make it all pay off, kind of realize that almost never happens, and just think, oh shit, when am I really living? When am I really experiencing anything? Right? Only right now, in this current moment, like in the present. So I just want to make sure that presently I'm doing what I want to do, headed towards where I want to go, and enjoying the process, right? So I think there's not a lot of, or not, there's a lot of different kind of motivations that guys can have for the gym. Like let's just keep it at the gym specifically, or I guess it could be anything, right? It could be school, it could be like certain accolades or getting a certain kind of job or whatever. Maybe your whole family is lawyers. You got lawyer parents, you got lawyer grandparents, and then you got like super crazy historical lawyer grandparents or something. And let's say you as a kid, you want to be the best sculptor on this side of the Mississippi, and then your parents basically kind of manipulate, or not manipulate, but kind of like basically say, we're only going to like you if you become a lawyer, or something like that. And then the guy doesn't. Maybe he doesn't, and he becomes a super lawyer himself, but it's like it's not what he wanted to do. So it's just like a lot of weird angles. And I don't want to achieve goals, and I don't want to like work hard on the things that I like to do out of spite. Like that's no fun. I think there's, I don't know if this is like a moment or if it's just like a general kind of outlook, but like I don't want someone living in my head rent free, making me do what I do. Like I don't think back and think like, oh, that guy made fun of me once for only being able to bench 135. I'm going to show him, or maybe the classic girlfriend story. You think if you get jacked, you're gonna do whatever. Like at least I hope, and this is very subjective. This is just like what I would think. It's not right or wrong, but I would hope that a lot of people who get into the gym with that like spite motivation, like with that I'm going to show them motivation, eventually kind of think to themselves like, shit, man, I don't really care about them anymore. Like this is just freaking fun. Like I just like doing this. This is who, so it's kind of a forget and forgive sort of deal where, some guys maybe get into it for maybe not the wrong reason, but just some reason. And then they say, oh shit, well, now this all worked out, and then it's just like that quote of Kevin Levrone, where he's saying, sometimes your life isn't falling apart, it's just falling into place, So honestly, that's probably the best win you can ever have. It's not necessarily like a revenge or like a I told you so. I think the best kind of state of being you can have is when in the moment, and basically for the foreseeable future, you feel like it's smooth sailing. You feel like you've got the wind to your back and nothing's going to stop you. You're achieving your goals, whatever they may be. You're making progress. You're just like generally happy. Because if you're in that state, then no matter what kind of random bullshit that's happened to you before, no matter how severe, if in this current moment you're doing good, well then you almost have to look back and maybe not be grateful, but just, think, if all that crazy shit didn't happen back then, well then I wouldn't be where I am now, So it's like if you had a time machine, you could go back and fix every one of your mistakes and like make it so that nothing bad ever happened to you, or insert a million things. Then if you came back to the present, like out of Back to the Future or something, and you're looking at yourself after you just like altered your whole timeline. If you made it totally perfect for yourself the whole time, you never had any kind of challenge or whatever, you know, you're probably going to come back in the DeLorean with Doc and say, who is that guy? That guy's a freaking loser. That guy's like a total punk. And then Doc would say, well, that's you, Marty. That's you with no challenge or with no, you know, with like no whatever. So it's obviously easy to think like that if you're in that kind of good headspace. You know, if you're going through shit in the moment, it just kind of sucks, you know, and you just gotta deal with it. But eventually, for the most part, you'll be able to look back and say, shit. Now, like, honestly, this is probably the best thing I ever want to be able to say is, oh, it all worked out. Well, you know, this, that, and the other, but in the end, it all worked out. And that's fine by me. That's freaking perfect. So, plan today is arms. I got my split like all mixed up, but now we're back on regular track. Arms, legs, chest, back, repeat. Rest days taken sporadically, shoulders thrown in every so often. But today's arms, so what do I think? I just did an arm day down at Bumpstead's gym when I was at Raw headquarters like 2 weeks ago or something. We didn't get like a whole video of it, but we were all just kind of running around in there. And we did we did 2 sets of a movement, and then we swapped body parts. So 2 sets of push downs, 2 sets of curls, 2 sets of 2 sets of dips, 2 sets of curls, 2 sets of so I think that'll be good for today. I think a 2-setter loop will be solid. So I don't have a specific number. You know, I'm not coming in thinking, okay, if I do 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, then I'm good. It's more so I'll just do 2 sets of this push down, 2 sets of a curl, then pick a new movement each time until I can tell that was enough. Then pose down, go home, get some food in my system, and then do some post-meal, post-cardio on the bike. Nothing super intense. You know, I only crank it to like level. Every machine's different, but about where I'm burning 300 calories per 30 minutes, so that's 10 calories a minute. Usually that's about right. But don't take that number as like law, because some machines are super hard. Like I was on this, I don't know what brand it was. I think it might have been like a Hammer Strength Aero bike or something. And it said I only burned 300 calories in a half hour. But it was more than 300 for sure, or at least it was more than what 300 normally feels like. And then some bikes, I can tell like, yeah, this is 30 calories, this is 10 calories a minute. Yeah, not so sure, right? So you got to kind of have your due diligence. It's like knowing when a food is mislabeled, right? Like if you picked up a cheeseburger, like not like a weird Whataburger, like mystery meat, like I'm talking a real restaurant cheeseburger, and then you looked at the nutrition label and it said 200 calories. Yeah, guess what? Fugazi, right? Don't listen to that. But yeah, nothing else to say there. So let's just get this freaking arm pump started. All right, looks like Christmas is coming freaking early for Sam. Guess what just got delivered? A little freaking cardio bike. So it's yeah. It's not just all ready, it's all put into pieces, so that'll be a little bit of a project for later. For later will be good. But let's start with buys. Let's buy it before we try it. Some might not recommend that method, but it's just, I mean, you know, it's just kind of fun to say try before you buy. But, I mean, shit. If you do an arm day the exact same way for the last, like, however many months or years, just try changing it up. What's the worst that's going to happen, you know? I've been a little bit stingy with trying new things, and the more open I've been to like new movements, not that I'm doing like crazy movements or anything, but just like new exercise orders, doing flies before presses, or leg extensions before squats, or like light squeezing stuff before heavy stuff. I mean, it's not only is it more fun and interesting, but I just get way more different workouts, and then I have a lot of different like memories of which workouts I'd like to do, and I can base my newer workouts off of those. you know, so it all just plays into each other very well. But let's start with the 45s, and then instead of a really declined curl, this is only a little bit moderate on this little like seated shoulder press kind of setup. But yeah, I think 45s will be good. Heavy enough that I feel it, but light enough that I can do, I don't know, this might be in the 20 rep range. Okay. Two. Okay. Ooh, shit. Woo. Yeah. One more of those will be good. Same weight, same everything. Ugh. 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 Get okay. Oh shit. All right. I might come back to this, but let's do a rope push down next. So when I'm dieting, especially, I have a few extra concerns with the workouts. Obviously, one, make sure I don't hurt myself, which I'm always careful about. I'm a lot better about that. But when you're dieting, you gotta be able to pump the brakes a little. You know, when you're, bulked up, I've gone from, I've never curled the hundreds for like a real working set, but I've grabbed the 90s for like 9. And, you know, I gotta be okay with cutting that weight in half for these curls. But the second concern is tempo. I don't want to lose my pump when I'm dieting because it's already fleeting. It's always fleeting, but when you're low on carbs, I don't stay pumped for long. But 15 minutes or 20-minute drive home, pump's gone. You know, so I got to keep that tempo up a bit more just to kind of make up for that lack of glycogen. But light squeezing rope, this will be perfect. Okay. Ooh. One more, and then back to a curl. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Ooh, all right. I'll come back to this cable, or maybe I won't. But either way, if I do, different handle. Not gonna do the rope again. But let's go back to that curl. That curl's perfect. Okay. Okay. One more. Ooh. Okay. Time for overhead tricep. Very stretch focused. Not a huge squeeze at the top of a movement like this, but the triceps long head kind of activation at the bottom, I feel it. To the point where, I mean, yeah, I think a tricep routine that doesn't have at least occasionally overhead extensions thrown in, I don't think it's far-fetched to say it's incomplete, you know? Obviously, it's not like you need it. I mean, I didn't do anything overhead for a really long time, but I do see some long head gains after implementing it. Okay. Okay. Let's do a cable curl. A little easy bar action. Those first few sets of curls were very controlled. I don't mind getting a little nastier with this one. And then plus, like, look, I'm not gonna sit here and watch a video of someone do a set of curls like a complete total freaking buffoon and say that's a good set, you know. But you don't have to be so, you know, a little miss freaking perfect with your reps. And as I'm more pumped, I almost feel like your, not posture, but your rep performance in terms of like perfect form. I mean, it's a very nuanced thing to say, but it's not so crucial. You know, I'm aiming for a feel. I don't get graded off of how good this set looks. My personal grading scale is how pumped am I, and am I making progress? So I liked those lighter squeezing sets first, but now that I'm pumped, I'm gonna get a good amount of stimulation and increased blood flow from being a little nastier and quicker. But of course, that's one lifter's take. Do whatever you want to do. Or whatever you think is best, rather. One more. One notch heavier though. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's stay right here and move on to a regular push down next. If I can pick a better song, then we'll be ready to go. Yeah. 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 Oh, shit. Okay. I think that's it. Let's put this thing away and go pose down. So a little lighter on the tricep volume today. I'm cool with that. All right. Yeah, how are we looking? Let me turn that down just a little. Yeah, now we're cooking with gas. So, if you were curious, this zipperless power hoodie, 10% off from 62, but there is a blue version, which is petrol blue, 40% off. And honestly, as a cut, I mean, nah, it's just good. I don't see it a ton. Like, not to get very specific here, but like the fact that the sleeve seam doesn't start until way down on my shoulder, and this is tying into the pump check. Like, I don't know. Like, it feels like I'm wearing shoulder pads, like in a suit. Not to get so like Wall Streety, but no, I'm feeling pretty solid here. So let's see how we're looking. This would be like a little double pose down because I like this angle, but I also like through the mirror with that reflection. So we'll just do a little one of each. But yeah, with the fact that it's getting a bit colder and I'm getting leaner, so honestly, like me personally, I'm getting colder. Like I'm turning up my heat in the house. It's about hoodie season. When I was deeper into prep earlier this year, I was coming to the lift in 2 hoodies, or like a sweatshirt and a hoodie, and 2 pairs of sweatpants because, well, it was just really cold in that gym. But still. So let's, well, if we're already looking at the back. Okay. Oh, goodness. Yeah. This is the first noticing of like some lower ab veins creeping upward. And that's what I want to see. That's proof that some shit is going down. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, now we got the opposite angle, which it's definitely just the light, but it looks like the actual, serratus and everything else is getting a little bit more apparent. Let me try one more. Ugh. So the leaner I get, the more I like just actually sitting, doing like a fancy pose down, which is obvious. Like, of course, if you're lean, that's when you're gonna want to look at yourself. But no, this is good. It was good walking around the city the last couple days, plus still doing my regular cardio. So I think I got a little leaner. I mean, I definitely got a little leaner, but like slightly noticeably leaner as well. Let me hit a few more shots and then we can get out of here. What else is there? Oh man. All right. No, I'm feeling like a beast. I get to go home very happy, very freaking giddy in the car today. So back to regular schedule. No more of these late ass uploads. And I'll see you in the car. All right. Yeah, the gym is getting close to, well, it'll never be finished, because finished isn't the point. But yeah, we're getting some upgrades. Not super soon, but in a little while. So cardio bike delivered, which is gonna be sweet. I think, so for today I'm doing workout cardio in the morning and then cardio on its own at night. So I think I'll just go back and then put that together and then do my cardio there. Oh my god. I got like a freaking, like a phlegm thing right now. It's killing me. So what else would be cool, what else would be freaking sweet, is a sauna. So I'm gonna look around and see what's going on sauna wise. Because I mean, you can get like the, like $150 Amazon like tarp one seater, but I feel like a sauna is already kind of wild anyway, because it's like so hot and everything. I wouldn't want to be in a tiny confined space, so I'll look around. So if you know a guy who knows a guy who works for a sauna manufacturer, I would be highly interested in something along those lines. But obviously that's not a dire need per se, but I do like a sauna post cardio, but only in the morning. Like, I think there's, I'm not one to live and die by the sauna, like, heat shock proteins and blah blah blah, but I think as like a full morning cardio setup, 30 minutes cardio followed by 15 minutes sauna, followed by, usually after the sauna I'd want like a little bit of a cooler shower just to kind of get back to like a regular temperature. That's pretty much perfect. Not as much on a bulk, but maybe I should do it on a bulk. I think it's just because if I'm eating a bunch of food, I feel really sweaty in the sauna. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is there. Very good arm day. A little bit on the quicker side for sure, but that's cool. I don't need to sit here for 3 hours for an arm day, and I feel like I don't want the workout to end. Like I think I'm like, especially for a couple of days ago with a chest day, like I didn't anticipate or have even the slightest hint of thought in the back of my mind thinking like, oh, get this over with. And I never want to. I don't want to come into the gym thinking, oh, okay, let's just get this done, because it's not a chore. I don't want to think about it like it's a chore, and it's not, because it's something that I want to do. It's like if somebody goes on a group vacation and then one person is like ruining it because they just keep coming. It's like, don't you want to do this? Don't you want to have fun right now? Why are you, it's like just a weird self-sabotage, I think. So, I on a set-by-set basis, I'm not even after those first 2 sets of curls, I did not think in my head like, okay, I want to be done at 6. I want to be done at 7. Nah, no pun intended. It's more so like, okay, those sets were good. Let's do another. Let's do another. Let's do another. Until I can kind of have like an internal sense of, okay, that's enough. I'm pumped, I'm fatigued. I know that those sets all added up to a solid workout, which partially I'm thinking of because I know what a good workout is to a degree, but also I know what a good workout has felt like for me in the past. So I don't have a rule that says like 6 sets, 5 sets, 8 sets. It's more so just getting a certain sensation of, okay, how hard did I go? Like this is my mental calculation. Adding up like, okay, how hard did I go? How heavy were those sets? How close to failure did I reach? If not, actually, did I hit failure? And just subjectively, how am I feeling? Like, how do my biceps, how do my triceps feel right now? And honestly, I think that this feeling part gets neglected the most across the board, because, I mean, for me, let's say it was biceps only. Let's say biceps only. I did 1 set of those curls. So let's just imagine a world where I'm doing the same set of those like kind of lean back seated curls for the whole workout. I'm going to do 10 sets of those. I'm going to do 20 sets of those, whatever, just to keep it simple for this analogy. If I do 1 hard to failure, just like I did in the beginning, all right, good. I'm on the path to being fully pumped and getting a good bicep workout. When I do 2, okay, I'm still there. I can still feel I've got some juice in the tank. Let's keep going. 4, 5, 6. All right, we're getting close. We're just about there. 7, 8, 9, probably around that, but definitely below 9 range. If every set is actually to failure, I'm probably going to say, whew, that was enough. That 1 set, I just did it. We're good. That is the end of it, And if I kept going, like let's say for whatever reason I had to keep repeating that set and still like try to go to failure in all of them too, beyond that point, I don't feel like I'll be doing productive work. I feel like I'll just be burning my biceps out, but like to no avail, if you kind of catch what I'm feeling. Now that's just my experience, or that's kind of my perspective. So if you think differently and maybe you get like a second wind once you've done like your 15th set, well then I want to hear about it, right? I want to hear what that take is like. But for me, once I kind of reach that full, just pumped, just not decimated, but pumped, stimulated, like, whoa, yeah, that's where I kind of draw the line, and I think that's a good way to look at it. And obviously, if I think that, then that means that's what I'm going to do and what I'm going to talk about, right? But I wouldn't say it's objectively right or wrong. And, I don't think anything beyond like calories in, cardio, intensity, really is. And that's where, I know I'm trying not to like talk only about like this debate of like how to work out all the time. I can't help it. I get sucked in. I'm working on it. But I think that's where your own results should, at least for you, justify what you've been doing, or potentially prove it wrong, because those results are the addition of all those different variables of your training and your consistency and your effort and everything, all added up into one end result. So have you been making gains? No. You should change something. Have you been making gains? Yes. Well, shit, man. Obviously, keep going. Maybe try to improve it, of course, but looks like you're good. You know what you're doing, right? So just don't get too caught up in a back and forth intellectual battle, right? I think working out isn't necessarily the most intellectual endeavor. I mean, it's not complicated, really. Like if I wrote out, even if this routine was the exact same thing every workout, like if I wrote out a, let's say I did like an Arnold split, so chest and back, arms, legs, and maybe shoulders is in there with arms, with a rest day, and then repeat. If I wrote out maybe an 8 set per body part workout, or like a like a 7-set per body part workout, and then wrote out a dieting plan that was like super strict of just, 6 ounces of ground beef, 100 grams of rice, or like whatever, that added up to like an actual calorie deficit or a surplus for a guy to bulk. If someone did that specifically, didn't cheat, stuck with it, well, then the guy's probably going to make solid gains, So I don't think the sweet spot, I don't think the X factor is hidden in the technical approach to working out. I think it's really hidden, kind of in here, like internally, like your internal drive and how hard you want to go and how hard you want to stick with it, and being able to hold yourself accountable when nobody's watching. Nobody's going to watch you cheat on your diet. Nobody knows if you just cut your workout short because you didn't feel like it. No one is telling you to keep going. That's you. That's your own kind of internal motivation. So I think that's what separates guys who kill it versus the ones who don't. It's not because they're doing it better, per se. More so that they just, it's not that they're doing it better. It's just that they're doing it better. If you kind of get what I'm saying, So that's my kind of shtick there. But that was a good workout, and I am excited to get under 240 pounds wake up weight. I started around like a 265, bulked up, watery. So as soon as I started dieting, dropped like 8 pounds like in a week. So that's just like carbs and water. That's not fluff weight, but that's just carbs and water. It can fluctuate very drastically. Like if I go home today and I eat 2,000 grams of carbs and 2 gallons of water, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow at 255 or 250 something. So started at 265. Now I'm around like a 244. So it's about, definitely before the before the end of the year, I should probably be around like a 237, 237-ish, something along there, maybe a 238 or so. And for me to get under, or to get into the 230s, that's when the freak factor kind of begins to make itself present. And it's slow, I'm not gonna lie, it feels a lot slower this time than last year or earlier this year in my last prep. And part of that is just because I saw myself crazy, stupid lean earlier this year. So I'm comparing myself to super lean, show ready Sam. But little details are making themselves apparent every so often, right? Like those little ab veins kind of coming up in the stomach. That's cool. That's one more little aspect of the freak factor that's telling me what I'm doing is working. Like me being able to see some very pronounced quad veins in the quad pump. Nice. Those little abs, obviously in really good lighting, but like seeing, serratus and like those gill-looking muscles on the side of your stomach. All right, that's in there too. All that is kind of adding up. And, maybe I won't see anything like that change for another 3 weeks. If I know I'm sticking to my calories, I'm doing my cardio, I'm doing everything right, well then I know I'm on track. So I guess faith kind of is a good word. You've got faith that your workout and your calorie tracking and your cardio is working, even when you don't see the results. You know that work is still, actually doing something. And a lot of people, there's no incentive to work at something unless the benefit is right there in their face instantly, which adds to the scarcity of people who work out and makes it more valuable. I'm not going to say you're any better quality of a guy or a person because you work out or you're in shape. It's certainly not so black and white as that. But I think there's just a lot that is proved by the fact that you're constantly working at something like that, because it just shows and at least for me, maybe I'm being mean here, but I feel like I like guys who work out more of the time. I'm not saying I don't like guys who don't work out, but we can just be on the same wavelength, because I know that this guy does all the same stuff that I do, and it's like you just got this kind of unspoken bond in a way. All right, like you're in the gym, maybe you're getting pretty big, and you're looking, and there's another big dude in there, or whoever, and you look over, you're like, then you do your set. That's something that people have gone their entire lives without feeling, and you know, it's not like it's the craziest thing in the world, but if you're into working out, you know, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm sure if you're a hardcore shredder at the guitar, and you go into a guitar center, and you know, maybe you hear somebody else really hitting something crazy technical, and then you grab something off the wall, and then you sit you know, on the other side, and you start doing some crazy shit. It's probably the same thing, you know. So it transcends like whatever the specific thing is, but you know, it's just kind of like it's like parallel play. You know, if you ever heard of parallel play, that's when like kids are all doing the same activity individually at the same time, right? When the whole class is coloring, that's parallel play. When the whole class is doing something, or when everybody's in the gym working out, having a good time, that's parallel play. You know, and it's fun. You get a little bit of an individualistic like activity, but it's also a group thing because everybody's there for the same reason, you know. So more people in the gym, the merrier. I hope that this year gyms become more crowded, and they get more funding for more memberships, and then they buy more equipment, or they buy more space and they expand, and then gym equipment manufacturers start making cooler stuff because there's more demand, and then there's more people making more videos about working out, like just a whole kind of upward spiral, right? If the conversion rate of New Year's resolutioners is 5% on average that stick to it, I hope that next year it's more like a 10% or a 20%, or I mean, I don't know if we can handle 100%, but I hope it's larger than ever. You know, because what is it? The tide raises all ships, or something along those lines. But yeah, nothing else to say there. I think I got like 5 pounds of ground beef cooked and strained, waiting for me in the fridge. So I think 8 ounces of that, plus some 0 sugar barbecue sauce, and a pack of oatmeal will do me very well. So I will see you tomorrow.